Hello, my name is Sogi Villar.gg, and I'm joined here with head coach FrosT from Talent Esports for our live champion Seoul coverage following the Levy and Ton versus Talent Esports Group States matchup. It's good to meet you here in Seoul today, FrosT, and
Likewise,
commiserations
bro.
on the tough loss.
Yep.
The first question I'd like to ask you today is regarding the new star of the show for Talent Primi. You've had just about 3 weeks of downtime since the end of your run at VCT Pacific, and while the team's results after the team secret match didn't look too phenomenal, what, if anything, has changed regarding Primi's role in the team, and what have you been able to since implement as you headed into today's match?
So what changed so basically in playoffs, we were even picking maps that like we're not supposed to or like we wouldn't normally, but simply because for him, we picked his comfort maps. So like it didn't matter. Like I think against DRX, you picked the scent or something, and they picked the scent on us the last time. We did that because, simply put, we just wanted to put him in the most comfortable spot. And since technically playoffs didn't matter for us, we had already qualified at that point. We were simply just trying to do the best we could to try to let him play agents and compositions that he was comfortable with. So I think on the best at that time we had Jet, and then Clove. Jet and Clover are two favorite characters basically, so it just kind of worked out.
Right.
Now I basically have him on anything and everything. Like he's basically fully integrated into what we want to do, and how we're gonna do it. So that to me is the largest change. Is we're no longer stuck with picking specific comps or maps. Like now we can just do whatever we feel like we need to do.
Right.
So
Thank you. And heading into the match itself and retaining the theme of comfortability, today was the team's champions debut, and with
Yeah.
this being the first international event for Governor and Primi, were there any first match jitters or nerves that
Oh,
you noticed?
100%. I have no problem saying it. I think largely the biggest reason we didn't beat Lev is simply because we were just too nervous. We were too nervous and we kept making mistakes. We were forgetting plays, and it is what it is. That's par for the course. That's just how it is.
Thank you. Talon entered mine with a bit of a shocking comp, as I'm sure it's already been
Yeah.
pointed out to you. You opted to change every player's agent. So,
Yep.
to what degree did you kind of deliberate on the comp over the last few weeks, and what led to some of the picks, most notably putting Governor on a new neon map?
Yeah, I think for us, what's interesting is it seems like people get shocked about these comps, but if you've watched us all year, we've consistently done this. We can play. Most of these guys can play every agent. So I have carte blanche basically on like what ideas we want to run and we certainly found a lot of things we can exploit, and we thought that we would have been able to do that and execute on that much better than we did. But yeah, that comp seems unusual to people, but there's a bunch of reasons why we felt like it was both the right thing to do against this opponent and sort of would give us, like, I think the edge in the matchup. Didn't work out, and it is what it is.
Right, thank you. So, and then judging by the fact that Bind was your pick coming into it with this comp, how did practicing it kind of play out for you in the last few weeks, and how did it make you more confident in picking Bind?
I mean, frankly, we were just destroying everybody. But again, when it just is what it is. Like, some of these guys are very young, and as you mentioned, it's their first time. This is sort of the growing pains that happen with people experiencing something for the first time. They don't always get it right. But if they stick with it long enough, obviously, like, with the more experience comes more comfort in being able to play in these moments. And I honestly think that we were just not as good as we should have been in particular moments. And those swing rounds could just, carry you the whole way.
Thank you. So then, even after a little bit of a slow start on Bind, you fell down early 0-4, and then you were down 7-5 by the end of your attack half. So, like, what did you kind of discuss during halftime and onward to keep the team spirit up?
I didn't really discuss anything other than like trying to make sure that. So basically, in the pregame, I basically told them that the team that is often the most calm wins predominantly, and especially because as the stakes get bigger and the tournament goes deeper, the game matters more to everyone else, right? So, if you can keep your head about you and you can do the things you're supposed to do, and you take advantage of your advantages, you normally will win those. And I kept trying to tell them, like, guys, relax. You felt them now. They had a big lead. They threw it away. Like, you're good. Blah, blah, blah. It's still winnable. I wasn't really coaching. We pretty much knew what we were going to do on the other side. But, yeah, I mean, you talk about that 0-4. That should have been 4-0 the other way. But it's just, unlucky. And if we chain the rest of it, that half could have gone.
Yeah, it happens, but
So
it is what it is.
yeah.
So, like, And then after that, you kind of mentioned several times already that you could have won Bind 13-6. So like, what issues from Bind did you kind of make known to the team after the map ended, and try to fix before heading into Ascent? You were up 11-9, and then
The same issues that happened on Bind happened on Ascent, and the truth is, it just comes down to being comfortable in these moments, and dealing with the pressure, and remembering the things you're supposed to be doing, and communicating effectively. And often those breakdowns happen when you're not ready. The After we lost Bind, I basically said, okay, we probably threw so many rounds away and still had a chance to win. I felt like we should be confident enough going into the second map. So I basically just try to tell them, like, listen, it's fine. Just get through the second map. We'll win on Sunset. It's no problem. But ultimately, the same issues happen. And it's just like unlucky.
So on Ascent, you kind of made the choice to return to the 9 lives, the zombie comp that you only showed off twice throughout Split 2. Previously, you lost 6-13 to Zeta, and you only won narrowly 13-11 to DRX at the comp, but you brought it back today for today's match. What kind of made you bring it back, and in theory, what makes it good?
Small correction. Versus Zeta, I believe we went standard comp, and it's okay. But versus DRX, we actually were going to beat the brakes off them. We just, kind of threw some rounds on defense, but we actually won. We won 13-11. So we really brought that because, again, without getting too much, you get into it. There are specific advantages that comp has against what we saw. And, it was just kind of unlucky because Ascent, I don't even think we gave ourselves a chance to win. The communication breakdowns, the mistakes, with our util, and it was just a mess. It was actually a miracle that at one point, I don't remember the exact score line, but pretty sure it was like 7-9 at that point. It was like we won 4 rounds in a row on defense, and we were basically like, okay, we can just control the whole thing.
Right.
And then it's just, mistake after mistake after mistake, and like, oh wait, I thought you were what? It's just like, oh, unlucky. So these things happen. It's all good.
So in North America especially, it seems like most teams have kind of shifted their Ascent pick towards the new Deadlock comp. So far in Champions, 2 out of the 4 Americas teams have picked Deadlock on the map, but seeing as this isn't something that you see ordinarily in VCT Pacific, you kind of receive your first experience against Deadlock on Ascent in an official today. So with the Revival comp, what was it kind of like to play against Deadlock, and what are some of the strengths?
Exactly what I thought the strengths would be. That comp has a lot of weaknesses. It does have its strengths for sure, but it has a lot of weaknesses. Probably the biggest weakness is if you play slow against it, it's actually really good to play because they don't have enough util. Small example, without the KO, you don't have the extra info and you don't have the flash to re-clear middle. It becomes basically you have to fight for that. Well, our comp, we have the counter util to be able to stop it. So it's like, you definitely have advantages. I'm sure they have advantages like it's harder to go fast because of the Deadlock plus the Cypher util. The wall's really good if you're not really aware of it. You saw one round, small example, but Deadlock had full kit on a retake, and we completely destroyed them even on the A retake. And her util is absolutely broken if you get into post-plant situations on attack. And we still came out on top. So we felt like the comp has its merit. It also has its disadvantage. Look, you can say it about every comp. Even most standard comps, they run into problems when you play off meta comps because they're very particular and they're very balanced. And when you create an imbalance somewhere,
Thank you.
You can find
So overall, Ascent was yet another loss, and then the series ultimately fell out 0-2. So what do you think were some of the main problems with how Ascent played out? I know you already said communication, but was there really anything else to it?
I think, honestly, at the end of the day, we need to be able to play a clean game. If we can figure out how to consistently play at our best, we are going to be good. But if we consistently just give up rounds, throw rounds, I don't think we're going to be very good. If this is the best that we want to be, we're already there. So
lastly, with your loss today, you have to face either one of Team Vitality or Trace in the lower bracket. So which team are you expecting to go against?
Expected? Probably Trace. That's the expectation. Do I think it's possible? Yeah, I actually think Trace is pretty underrated coming out of China. I think if you think of, I think FPX and Trace are probably the two. Well, sorry, Trace is the most macro-heavy Chinese team. FPX is slightly, or not slightly below. They're actually significantly below that. They obviously have more firepower. They're the better team, but I think Trace has their chance. Do I think they're going to do it? No. I don't think they're going to do
Think if
it.
they play like they do in scrims, they'll win.
Actually, yes, they can. But that is very hard.
Mm-hmm.
I expect Vitality to be able to play pretty solid game and win. By the way, I just want everybody to know Vitality is sitting in the room next to us at the hotel practice. So the two roommates are basically about to play against each other, which to me is insane.
All right. Thank you so much, Frost, for your time. Thank you so much, and
Yeah,
good luck.
no problem. Anytime, bro.